Hello. You've joined the Script Mistress again for scene 16. Don't give up. Tips to keep going. I am your host, Amber Bosworth, and this is something very close to my heart, as I'm sure all of us as writers at some point in time have gotten the urge or gotten a tickle, not a tickle, but gotten just that voice to tell us, why are we doing this? What are we doing? We're not good. We got to stop. So I'm here to write this. I know we're only in like the second week of January, but we come into the new year with thoughts and resolutions and really grand goals. And sometimes those goals can be a little far reaching. So even if you made really big goals for yourself this year and they're kind of seeming out of reach after the haze or the hangover has worn off, this is just, I think, a great episode to really help you solidify some of that, maybe make your goals a little bit more doable, but just to remind you as writers to never, ever give up no matter what. So, now, if you want to stay up to date on podcast events and my challenges, get on my mailing list at www.thescriptmistress.com. I also have this whole episode on video if you want to see me. That will be at www.thescriptmistress.com/scene 1616 for your enjoyment, along with the free download that I'll have available for you right off that page as well. I love to really help you guys, so I offer a lot of free resources. You can find a lot of that on the main page as well. And I think at some point I might have all of these put on YouTube. I just don't know, I haven't gotten that motivated. Maybe that's one of the things that I need to do this year. Now, I also want to remind you that this is not edited. I just get on here and I spill about the weekly topic. Collecting all of this from the plethora of information gives me great motivation to write myself. So I think mostly I'm telling you guys not to give up, but it's also a reminder for me not to give up and not to give up helping everybody else out and the writers and the challenges that I do as well. So it's really about what works for you as a writer to really keep the pen scratching or the keys clacking. Now, the January Ink to Screen Challenge is now open for registration. It's been open for a while. If you are just finding my podcast, I run a monthly short screenwriting challenge contest, really, where writers get 5 days to write a new 5-page screenplay based on an image prompt or an idea that I send out the day of the challenge. So nobody knows what it is until that day. So every writer gets the same amount of time to write that 5 pages. The winner gets $150, and every writer that submits a script gets detailed feedback. And even if you're a little bit late, I do offer that as well. If you're a little bit late in submitting your script, I still provide feedback to you on your script. You paid for that, so I definitely give that to you. This is all included in the $15 entry fee. You can check it all out at www.thescriptmistress.com/ink to screen. Now, the January challenge will run from January 18th to the 22nd. That just 5 days left, 5 days from when this podcast airs to enter this month's challenge. And please just don't miss out on starting this year by writing a brand new script. And it'll kind of bring us into some of the tips that I'll talk about a little bit later, that this kind of might help you keep that momentum and helping you not to give up. But if you do miss it, life happens, you're just not ready yet. There will be a new one next month. So I do it every month, usually about the third weekend of every month, Wednesday through Sunday. I like to do that. I do this for you guys, I really do. Now, on to the episode. I'd like to start with a quote from Stephen King's book on writing. Now, not just screenwriting, but he says, it starts with this: put your desk in the corner. Every time you sit down to write, remind yourself why it isn't in the middle of the room. Life isn't a support system for art. It's the other way around. Art is our support system. That's something that gives us meaning in life, and that's where you have to remind yourself. And before I can really get into tips, before I really want to get into the tips on why you shouldn't quit, I wanted to kind of go over some of the top reason writers quit writing, whether you've had them yourself or you know of other people. And these are by no means all the end all of reasons. No, these are just some common ones that once addressed could maybe really help a lot of your insecurities and really help you keep going. So it's always a bit discouraging to see talented folks and folks with potential simply throwing in the towel when it comes to their screenwriting career. But quitting is not always a big, fat, inevitable decision. It's not. Examining each and every reason why screenwriters quit would take quite a few of these podcasts, posts, everything, if not a college course. But here are some of the main ones that I've seen that other people's have seen. Again, I have resources at the end of this. I kind of pulled some of these off of other blog posts, and I'll link those in the show notes on the webpage too, so you can go to those and and do something about it. Like, just not quitting and do something about it. That is assuming you don't want to quit. And I'm hoping if you're sitting here and you're listening to me ramble on now it's scene 16 episodes, then I can kind of assume that you're not ready to quite throw in the towel. So one reason screenwriters quit is because they only write one script. Screenwriters who write just one single script are at a significant disadvantage to writers who are armed with multiple scripts and are more likely to give up due to frustration because they find it impossible to make that one script the most perfect screenplay ever. Let me just think about it. I mean, first of all, if you've only written one script, you've only lived with one set of characters, lived in one particular story, dealt with one individual screenplay structure. As any screenwriter knows, writing even just one script can be a hugely educational experience. I am so not diminishing that at all, demeaning that. Trying to get character, plot, dialogue, setting, theme, all working into one integrated whole. That's hopefully entertaining, original, and marketable. So imagine that educational value double, tripled, because with each script you write, you learn more and more on how to be a better screenwriter. Not to mention, you also have more than one script to take into a pitch meeting. If you don't like your elevator pitch or your first pitch in a room, you can pitch them your second script or your third or your fourth or your 15th. Double your scripts, double your chances. Now, I love this first one because that is really one of the big reasons I started the Ink to Screen screenwriting challenge. True, it is only a 5-page script, but it is a whole new script, all new characters, all new plot, all new theme. Everything is different, and it came from your head. This is your script. You could use this as the log line. I help you guys with your log lines to make sure that if you are in a room and you pitch your most best script, and then, but you know what? I also have this. I've also done this to show that you are such a talented and amazing writer, that you have this kaleidoscope of amazing scripts under your belt. That is so amazing. And not to mention just the experience you get by taking something and writing a script about it can really make you more adaptable. That is why I really love bringing you guys the Ink to Screen challenge. So really just think about that, because I know as screenwriters, we all have that one script that is kind of like very special to us, and maybe our first or second script, but it's like it's never right. It's never the best it can be. So let's just put that little guy aside. Let's just put him aside and let's create something new and then come back. New, come back, new, come back. So you're always evolving and creating and making that your masterpiece, something, your first idea, come to fruition in a whole new way. I think that will be very, very exciting and will really help. I really do. All right. Screenwriters quit because they don't build their network. Now, I think I've talked about this a lot, and I've had several of my screenwriters who have won the Ink to Screen Challenge. I've had a couple who have really talked about it, about building that network. It's true, it's true, it's true. No matter how long you hold your breath and or turn blue in the face, you will not change this law of physics. It's all about who you know. Now, I sincerely apologize if that's cold water in the face, either because you're hearing it for the first time or because you can't believe I'm actually espousing such a seemingly cliche notion. But seriously, the only way screenwriters become paid screenwriters is by meeting people and getting out there. Yes. Furthermore, if you live outside LA, you're at a serious disadvantage as a screenwriter trying to meet people. However, that being said, in this digital age, I know a lot of writers and a lot of writers who are actually in Ink to Screen that are making a lot of headway, and they are not in LA. It is not the end all be all to just be in LA as a screenwriter. So don't let that hold you back as well. So how do you meet people? I don't think, you have to move to LA, but really get into networks, talking to people, join these contests, these challenges, not just Ink to Screen. I'm not just throwing that out, but other challenges. Get your stuff out there. Go to your local short film festivals. They're all over the place. You've got to be close to one major city that has a short film festival where you can go and just kind of be around people. That really helps. Okay, screenwriters quit because they lose their focus. Screenwriters who are easily distracted are often the first ones to give up screenwriting, sure. But the more insidious forms of distraction are often the ones which appear to be helping you as a screenwriter. For example, you may want to start a film club in order to build your network, as we mentioned above. Or if that film club becomes a full time job with you running around like a PCP addled chicken, picking up drinks for the meeting, napkins, making flyers, building a Facebook page, guess what? You're not screenwriting. Focus on screenwriting and let everything else be secondary. Yes, find time for your film club, but give it 2 hours per week instead of 20. And this is really something I read this because I am into Ink to Screen, the Script Mistress. That is what I'm doing. And sometimes that doesn't provide me a lot of time for writing. So that is something that I worked on this January, and I'll provide it to you, is that the 12-month writing planner, SMART goals to really focus my writing so I'm not giving up the things that make me happy as well. Because I love writing, but I also love helping you guys. But I'm learning to balance that because that is super important, and learning to balance that as well. Screenwriters quit because they get too comfortable with material distractions. This one is a very common one. Most screenwriters, like actors and filmmakers, struggle for a long time, waiting tables, eating ramen in their crappy valley apartment or other South Dakota house, robbing from post house one to pay post house two, and generally living a pretty hand to mouth existence. But when those folks finally land a decent day job, which lets them move into a nicer place, lets them snag a new car, maybe a big TV, they suddenly become, get this, addicted to their comfort. And nothing is more antithetical to the creative, prolific screenwriter than becoming fat and sated. The trick here is to stay hungry, figuratively and perhaps even literally, if you want to continue to push your screenwriting career. Be comfortable, yes, but don't get too comfortable, else you're likely to simply stop trying. And that was something, again, you can read my bio from the scriptmistress.com, a little bit about me, but I worked a very, very high profile job for a very long time. And during that time, I got my master's degree in creative writing. And I was writing for a little bit, but yes, I got too comfortable, too safe. And I ended up having a baby and I lost that job. I got very hungry. And that's when the Ink to Screen and the Script Mistress kind of came to me, like helping other people while also like helping my writing as well. So it did kind of take that take that to kind of push me forward. And I hope it doesn't take something like that, losing your job, your very high paying job, for you to get that realization. Screenwriters quit because they don't know what to do with their finished script. Yep, this is the big bad granddaddy of them all. Writers simply don't know what to do with their script once it's finished. But to be fair to screenwriters, the process of converting a screenplay into dollars for the screenwriter is an utterly confusing industry with all sorts of strange rules and customs. And what's worse, there's thousands upon thousands of screenwriters all trying to sell their scripts and or get them represented to and or by the same dozens and dozens of production entities and or agents managers. So it only makes sense that some screenwriters upon glancing up at this massive fast moving river racing against them flounder about the tide pool and give up before even attempting to swim this terrible difficult stream. So what do you do with your screenplay when it's done? There's really no one answer, but here are just a few small ideas you can try. The more of these you can do or even attempt, the better your chances are. Get it into festivals or script contests and see if you can get your screenplay a pedigree, an award, a mention, anything, etc. The higher the contest, the better it can be. Hire a name casting director to attach name talent to it. Take that package to studios. Get script coverage or notes from friends, writers groups to make sure it's the best it can be. Hire a crew and produce it yourself. Befriend someone at a literary agency or small studio and see if they'll champion you. Use an online matchmaking site to see if your script can attract a buyer. Now, not to sound too much like a go get 'em tiger motivational speaker, but don't give up your screenwriting career until you're 100% convinced it's not going to work for you. And even then, give it another 6 months. It's a hard business. Cliche alert, but it's not impossible. And besides, wait, what else are you going to do? Work at McDonald's? Okay, now it just feels like, now all of these, we don't all have to feel these all at once. I mean, one can be more than the other, that we feel it more than that. But now I want to get into the tips on how to keep going, on what you can do to keep it going where you don't feel like you have to give up and feel like you're making traction and headway, even if you don't have your screenplay on the big screen in the big theater. Now, the art of writing a script, whether it be a feature, a spec, a pilot, etc., is incredibly tricky to succeed at, but can also be an eternally satisfying experience. Plenty of aspiring screenwriters get lost in the precarious weaving of all the story elements, characters, plot, dialogue, etc., that they can grow discouraged. Now, in this part, we're going to talk about the important tips to any aspiring screenwriter struggling to keep writing or needing inspiration. So, a big one, big one, right on the top here: don't get overwhelmed. Once you start writing, it's easy to psych yourself out and get overwhelmed. Perhaps you don't like what you just wrote. Maybe you're realizing as you go just how much time and effort it will take to make your script live up to your high standards. Or you simply just can't get past the fact that there is always more work to be done. Whatever your concern, it's best to just keep it at bay. Screenwriting is a long and arduous journey, but taken step by step, it can be very rewarding. Once you get over the initial wave of overwhelming thoughts that are sure to crash on your shores, the writing process gets way less stressful. Way less. Just focus on what's in front of you, what you can do today. So it's so important to write really small, doable goals for yourself every day. Goes into the next one: work every day. They say it takes 10,000 hours of practice to get really good at what you're passionate about. That's years of work. Michael Jordan used to practice shooting after his high school games to reach that mark as soon as he could. Thankfully, screenwriters are not athletes. Instead of your talent declining in your 30s, you can improve as time goes along. There's a reason most films are written by someone over the age of 35. It's true. Working every day is an essential aspect of mastering any craft you work towards. With screenwriting, that work comes from more than just hacking away at the keyboard. Working every day can mean taking notes, doing research, more on that next, outlining certain scenes, or just rereading your own written material. By putting in time and effort on a daily basis, the process of completion will be more fluid. Next, do some research. They say to write what you know, so know what you're writing about. If you live in Idaho and are writing a story taking place in Paris, read up on the River Seine. If you are a teenager writing a period piece about the Vietnam War, reach out to people who were alive during that period of time. These steps may seem inconsequential at times, but they are necessary if you are really trying to nail the subject you are writing about. Thankfully, in the internet age, research is just a Google search away, so you've got no excuses to do that research now. Here's a big one: be open to criticism. Having your script criticized is a dreaded fear for many aspiring screenwriters, but if done constructively, can help redirect your efforts towards a better script. With this in mind, consider who you would like to critique your work. The best people are often those you know well and that will be brutally honest with you if your writing needs work. Without honest evaluation, you are bound to hear the answers you want, not the answers you need. Okay, and this last one, I know it's quite redundant, but just don't give up. Don't give up. If there is a common theme with all successful screenwriters, it's this: they didn't give up. This is the most obvious yet difficult tip to follow through on. In creative fields, it can be easy to get yourself down. This is especially true with screenwriting, where hours and hours of time and effort can lead to zero recognition. With this grim reality in mind, it is essential to not give up, to stay optimistic, and to truly believe in your vision. And besides, if you don't believe in yourself or your vision, who will? All right. So, like I said, I have the resources here. I have a couple of blogs that I got these from, some of these tips from, to kind of help round it out. You can check those out if you go to the page, the scene page, scene 16. Now, I always end these with a writing action. This one's a little different. I want you to set a timer for 15 minutes. Really, do it. Sit in your favorite writing spot, your desk, your bed with a little lap desk, what I do. Have a fresh piece of paper or a blank Google Doc or whatever you like to write on, and write down all of the things that are keeping you from writing, all of your doubts and insecurities and everything that's coming up for you, things that you may not have thought about, but just keep popping up. Take those 15 minutes and really get it out of your head and out in front of you. It literally is like taking it out and pushing it out in front of you. When you write these things down and see them in print, they have way less power. And you can really take them one by one and go, is that true? I mean, yes, this is how I'm thinking, but is that really true? Can I really look at that and think of that? Now you can find this. Now, after this, download, I'll provide it in the thing, download my free 12-month planner and use it to focus on your goals for the next year. Or if you can't go out that far, it's a broken down month to month. Just go 1 month at a time. What do you want to focus on this month? What do you want to focus on next month? And really make those goals doable. Now, you can find this on the podcast page, this page, scene 12, or you can go right to the page, www.thescriptmistress.com/goals, and you can get that download. And feel free to share some of your thoughts, some of your struggles and insecurities on the Facebook page, the facebook.com/ink to screen, or you can email me at amber@thescriptmistress.com to get extra help. Now, really ready to start 2023 off with a new script in your belt, kind of help you push past some of this, thinking about giving up, or you just feel like you're not that good of a writer, you're not getting better, like consider signing up for the next Ink to Screen screenwriting challenge. The winner gets $150. Every writer that submits a script gets an in-depth coverage and feedback right on their script. So like I said before, get the criticism that you may not want to hear, but that you need. like you didn't realize before because you're doing it on your own, or you're having your friends or family read them who maybe aren't who always just tell you what you want to hear, not necessarily what you need to hear. So you can check it all out at www.thescriptmistress.com/ink to screen. Thank you so much for listening and or watching. If you're watching this, I truly value any feedback. If you have an idea for a podcast that might help, you can email me at amber@thescriptmistress.com. Like and follow this show wherever you are listening. Please subscribe so you listen, get the updates. Talk soon. Until then, happy writing.